Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hope all of you are keeping well. I just want to thank everyone for joining us on our ninth day on the series of lectures during the month of Ramzan on the topic of reflections and lessons in the Holy Quran. To begin this session, I'd like to request Brother Rasim to do the recitation of Dua Iftitah by Muhammad wa ala Muhammad sallallahu. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Thank you, brother. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أفتتح الثناء بحمدك وأنت مسدد للصواب بمنك، وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة، وأشد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنقمة، وأعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة. اللهم أذنت لي في دعائك ومسألتك، فاسمعوا يا سميع مدحتي، وأجبوا يا رحيم دعوتي، وقلوا يا غفور عثرتي. فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها، وهموم قد كشفتها، وعثرة قد أقلتها، ورحمة قد نشرتها، وحلقة بلاء قد فككتها. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا، ولم يكن له شريك في الملك، ولم يكن له ولي من الذل، وكبره تكبيرا. الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها، على جميع نعمه كلها. الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه، ولا شبيه له في عظمته. الحمد لله الفاشي في الخلق أمره، وحمده الظاهر بالكرم مجده، الباسط بالجود يده، الذي لا تنقص خزائنه ولا تزيده كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرما، إنه هو العزيز الوهاب. اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير، ما حاجة بي إليه عظيمة، وغناك عنه قديم، وهو عندي كثير، وهو عليك سهل يسير. اللهم إن عفوك عن ذنبي، وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي، وصفحك عن ظلمي، وسترك على قبيح عملي، وحلمك عن كثير جرمي عندما كان من خطئي وعمدي، أطمعني في أن أسألك ما لا أستوجبه منك، الذي رزقتني من رحمتك، وأريتني من قدرتك، وعرفتني من إجابتك. فصرت أدعوك آمنا، وأسألك مستأنسا لا خائفا ولا وجلا، مدلا عليك فيما قصدت فيه إليك، فإن أبطأ عني عتبت بجهلي عليك، ولعل الذي أبطأ عني هو خير لي لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور. فلم أرى مولا كريما أصبر على عبد اللئيم منك علي يا رب. إنك تدعوني فأولي عنك، وتتحبب إلي فأتبغض إليك، وتتودد إلي فلا أقبل منك. كأن لي التطول عليك فلم يمنعك ذلك من الرحمة لي والإحسان إلي، والتفضل علي بجودك وكرمك. فارحم عبدك الجاهل، وجد علي بفضل إحسانك إنك جواد كريم. الحمد لله مالك الملك، مجري الفلك، مسخر الرياح، خالق الإصباح، ديان الدين، رب العالمين. الحمد لله على حلمه بعد علمه، والحمد لله على عفوه بعد قدرته، والحمد لله على طول أناته في غضبه، وهو قادر على ما يريد. الحمد لله خالق الخلق، باسط الرزق، فالق الإصباح، ذي الجلال والإكرام، الفضل والإنعام، الذي بعد فلا يرى، وقرب في شيء النجوى، تبارك وتعالى. الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعادله ولا شبيه يشاكله ولا ظهير يعاضده. قهر بعزته الأعزاء وتواضع لعظمته العظماء فبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أناديه ويستر علي كل عورة وأنا أصيه ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازي. فكم من موهبة هنيئة قد أعطاني وعظيمة مخوفة قد أراني وبهجة مونقة قد أراني. فكم من موهبة هنيئة قد أعطاني وعظيمة مخوفة قد كفاني وبهجة مونقة قد أراني. فأثني عليه حامدا وأذكره مسبحا. الحمد لله الذي لا يهتك حجابه ولا يغلق بابه ولا يرد سائله ولا يخيب عامله. الحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين ويرفع المستضعفين ويضع المستكبرين ويهلك ملوكا ويستخلف آخرين. الحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الهاربين نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين موضع حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين. الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها وترجف الأرض وعمارها وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق ويرزق ولا يرزق ويطعم ولا يطعم ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفوتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم صل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك حجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم. وصل على الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. وصل على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وصلي على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي علي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي. حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم وصل على ولي أمرك القائم المؤمل والعدل المنتظر حفه بملائكتك المقربين وأيده بروح القدس يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعله الداعي إلى كتابك والقائم بدينك استخلفه في الأرض كما استخلفت الذين من قبله. مكن له دينه الذي ارتضيته له بدله من بعد خوفه أمنا يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا. اللهم أعزه واعزز به وانصره وانتصر به وانصره نصرا عزيزا وافتح له فتحا يسيرا واجعل له من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. اللهم اظهر به دينك وسنة نبيك حتى لا يستخفى بشيء من الحق مخافة أحدا من الخلق. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله وتذل بها النفاق وأهله وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك، وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما عرفتنا من الحق فحملناه، وما قصرنا عنه فبلغناه. اللهم المن به شعثنا، واشعب به صدعنا، وارتق به فتقنا، وكثر به قلتنا، واعزز به ذلتنا، واغن به عائلنا، واقضي به عن مغرمنا، واجبر به فقرنا، وسد به خلتنا، ويسر به حسرنا، وبيض به وجوهنا، وفك به أسرنا، وانجح به طلباتنا، وانجز به مواعيدنا، واستجب به دعوتنا، واعطنا به سؤلنا، وبلغنا به من الدنيا والآخرة آمالنا، واعطنا به فوق رغبتنا، يا خير المسؤولين وأوسع المعطين. اشفي به صدورنا، اذهب به غيظ قلوبنا، واهدنا لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك، إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. انصرنا به على عدوك وعدونا، إله الحق، آمين. اللهم إنا نشكو إليك فقد نبينا صلواتك عليه وآله، وغيبة ولينا، وكثرة عدونا، وقلة عددنا، وشدة الفتن بنا، وتظاهر الزمان علينا. صل على محمد وآل محمد، وعنا على ذلك بفتح تعجله، وبضر تكشفه، ونصر تعز، وسلطان حق تظهره، رحمة منك تجللناها، وعافية منك تلبسنا، برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa Jafrajum. Jazakallah, Brother Rasim, for the very beautiful recitation. Now I'd like to request everyone to recite Surah Fatiha once and Surah Ikhlas 3 times for the Marhumin and Marhumat of today's sponsor, Mr. and Mrs. Dr. Zulfikar Sarani. Per Muhammad wa ali Muhammad sallallahu. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa Jafrajum. Before I invite Daga to continue his lecture, I just want to summarize the 2 points that I thought were important from the previous lecture. So the first one was the surah and the verse that all the youths have to memorize. So it's Surah Furqan, Surah number 25 and verse 43. And in this surah, Allah is talking to the Holy Prophet and he's saying that, have you seen the ones who has taken their Lord to be their desires, and are you going to take a responsibility for them? And the second thing was Imam Ali al-Islam said the only thing that I'm worried for you people is that you will start following your own desires. So now I'd like to request Aga Sayyid Ali Zaidi to continue his lecture on the topic of reflections and lessons in the Holy Quran. Where Muhammad wa ali Muhammad sallallahu. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa jil farajhum.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد والثناء لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، لا سيما سيدي ومولاي بقية الله في الأراضين، روحي وأرواح العالمين والفداء. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري، واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I pray that all of you are well. And may Allah, inshallah, accept all your a'mal, all your fasting, all your du'as, all your efforts during this holy month, inshallah. Before we continue with our discussions of reflections on specific verses of the Quran, I would like to see if there's any questions from the previous sections. If there's anything that was unclear or anything that comes to your mind that you would like to ask about, or anything of the sort. So please feel free to ask if there is any questions. If not, then we'll continue, inshallah. Nothing? Okay. All right. Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So last thing we talked about was, well, the one before last. We were talking about ghafla. We were talking about the state of inattentiveness and how we sometimes reach a state of inattentiveness. Then we talked about why ghafla. Why is it that some people get into this state of ghafla? And one of the things that we talked about, which was what we talked about yesterday, was the role that the carnal desires, or the hawa, or the nafs, if you will, or in Farsi Urdu sometimes it's called hawa nafs. So any of those, whatever you want to call it, that plays an important role. And the verse that we had yesterday, أَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهُ هَوَاهُ. O Prophet, have you seen the one who's taken their hawa, their own carnal desires, as their Lord? أَفَأَنْتَ تَكُونُ عَلَيْهِ وَكِيلًا. Are you going to be their wakil? Are you going to try to save them? Are you going to try to protect them? No. So basically, rhetorical question. No, you don't have to worry about it, because these people have pushed themselves into a state of ghafla or towards ghafla. So you're not someone who can help them. Another one of the issues, so this is more of an internal enemy, if you will. أَعْدَى عَدُوِّكَ, right? The most severe of your enemies. The most severe of your enemies is this نَفْسُكَ الَّتِي بَيْنَ جَنْبَيْكَ. So it's the nafs that's between, is the nafs that's within you or associated with you. That is أَعْدَى عَدُوِّكَ, meaning the most severe of the enemies. Moving on to what else can be an issue. Surah Yasin, which is chapter 37, verses 60 through 62. أَلَمْ أَحَدْ إِلَيْكُمْ يَا بَنِي آدَمَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا الشَّيْطَانَ إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ مُّبِينٌ وَأَنِ اعْبُدُونِي هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ وَلَقَدْ أَضَلَّ مِنْكُمْ جِبِلًّا كَثِيرًا أَفَلَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْقِلُونَ. Right? Surah Yasin is perhaps one of the surahs that relatively more frequently recited in our communities, in our houses. أَلَمْ أَحَدْ إِلَيْكُمْ يَا بَنِي آدَمَ. O the children of Adam, O Bani Adam, did we not have a deal? Did we not have an ahd? Did you not give me a covenant? The deal was that you will not worship shaitan. Didn't we make a deal? أَلَمْ أَحَدْ إِلَيْكُمْ يَا بَنِي آدَمَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا الشَّيْطَانَ. That you will not worship shaitan. إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ مُّبِينٌ. Certainly know this, that he's a clear enemy for you. Know this, that he's a clear enemy for you. وَأَنِ اعْبُدُونِي هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ. Rather worship me. This is the straight path. This is the straight path, worshipping me. And it continues, وَلَقَدْ أَضَلَّ مِنْكُمْ جِبِلًّا كَثِيرًا أَفَلَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْقِلُونَ. Certainly have no doubt that the shaitan has misguided many before you. Many before you. So will you not use your head then? أَفَلَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْقِلُونَ. Will you not think about this? Will you not think about how I'm telling you in the Quran, I'm telling you in this book of guidance that there is this enemy that's out there against you. I'm telling you that he's going to be working against you. One of the issues that we have that I talked about earlier as well is a lot of times our core issue is ignorance, that we don't know what Islam has said. We don't know what this book of guidance of ours has said. Sometimes it's complete ignorance, sometimes it's an incomplete understanding. That I don't completely understand that, okay, yeah, I've heard that shaitan is out there. I've heard that he's an enemy, but what about it? I don't know. I I don't do anything about it. And here's a way for us to gauge ourselves. Gauge ourselves. How often do we think about shaitan? How many times have we sat down and thought about how shaitan tries to get me? How many times have we tried to sit down and try to analyze what is going on in my life? Why am I not able to make progress like I would like to? What are the forces? Is my nafs, are my carnal desires becoming a hurdle? Is shaitan a hurdle? What are the kind of tricks that shaitan plays? How often do I fall for those tricks? If I don't know what's right and what's wrong, if I have no knowledge of what's right and what's wrong, how can I ever judge if what's being the direction that I'm being pushed in, is it the right direction or not? Doesn't that make sense? I don't know the rules. I don't know what's right. I don't know what's wrong. I never bothered to learn. And now that I have this feeling, oh, maybe I should do this. But I don't know if this feeling is inspired by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is this feeling inspired by shaitan? Because I don't know. I don't have any sort of parameters to be able to check if I'm moving in the right direction or not. One very overall and sort of macro sort of parameter that can be is if there's something that's making you move away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then there cannot be something that's inspired by Allah. It's inspired by shaitan. It's inspired by ignorance. It's inspired by a lack of understanding. It's inspired by lack of understanding what the Islamic ideology, lack of understanding what the recommendation of the scholars is, lack of understanding of what the A'imma alayhimus salam, the Ma'sumin, the Imams would have done or what they've said about it. Let me give you one small example. You go somewhere on a trip with your friends, or you go for a sleepover, you guys are hanging out, and you decide that everyone's going to sleep over, whatever, have some fun. There's a person who usually would have the tawfiq to get up and pray Salatul Layl, have the tawfiq to pray Namaz al-Shab. Now that they're on this trip with other people, not that they're hanging out with their friends or sleeping over at their friend's house or whatever it is, and the time of Namaz al-Shab comes, but this person thinks, no, if I pray Namaz al-Shab right now, it's going to look like as if I'm showing off. And therefore, they don't pray Namaz al-Shab. This is not something, this is a clear example of someone who hasn't really understood, or hasn't understood completely, I should say. This is a reflection of a person who hasn't been able to identify what is from shaitan and what is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is absolutely no way that Allah would inspire a mu'min to do something that takes them away from Allah. Salatul Layl, Namaz al-Shab is something that would bring you closer to Allah. It's a form of ibadah. It's a form of worship. However, I reached the conclusion that no, maybe I shouldn't do this right now. Okay, that's just one example. But anyways, moving on. So understanding that the Quran is telling you and I that listen, this dude, this guy is aduwwum mubin. He's a clear enemy for you. Moving on, Surah Fatir, which is chapter 35, verse 6. Inna shaytana lakum adu. This is something that is said in the previous verse as well. But it continues, فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا. Therefore take him. Certainly shaitan is an enemy for you. Therefore take him as an enemy. فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا. What's the extra thing that's been said over here? That he's an enemy. It was said in the previous verse as well. But over here it's saying, therefore take him as an enemy. What does a person do when they take someone as an enemy? They try to figure out how why they're their enemy. They try to figure out how they try to attack me. They try to figure out how I can protect myself. They lay down a plan of action to be able to deal with this enemy. They built a fort. They built a fort to be able to protect themselves. They get the proper weaponry to be able to protect themselves. And since I've given those two examples, it's interesting that there's actually a hadith that talk about that. La ilaha illallah hisni. Right? That saying La ilaha illallah, the dhikr of La ilaha illallah is like my fort. Allah is saying. So whoever does this dhikr, it's as if they've entered Allah's fort. And therefore they will be protected. In another one of the narrations, it says, Ad-du'a silahul mu'min. That the dua is the weaponry of the mu'min. So although there were examples, but there are ahadith that have used those examples, used those sort of metaphors for concepts within our ideology. That the dua is something that's really important for you. It's like a weaponry that you need. That the dhikr of Allah is something that will protect you. It's like a fort around you. Right? Inna shaytana lakum adu, fattakhidhuhu aduwa. And I was a little unsure of which one to memorize, but I think I'll ask Daniel, since it's his last day over here. Daniel, what do you think? Do you think people are more comfortable with Surah Yasin? So the verse in Surah Yasin is probably something people have heard more, but the verse after that is shorter. What do you say? We'll let Daniel pick. So either 3760 or 35:6.
Whichever is easier for people to memorize.
That's why I wasn't sure. One of my things that I consider is that it's not too difficult. It's not too long. So,
Then go with Surah Yasin.
okay, let's go with that. So let me type that out then. Memorization. What is it? Number 8 now?
Yeah.
Number 7 or number 8? Because we missed one in the middle. That kind of throws me off.
So number 8.
Number 8. Because today's the 9th, right? Okay. Memorization number 8, Surah Yasin, 36:60. There you go. ألم أحد إليكم يا بني آدم أن لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين. Have I not made a deal with you? Have I not made a covenant with you for you, يا بني آدم, the children of Adam, that you will not worship shaitan. إنه لكم عدو مبين. And the next verse is a bonus verse. وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم. Rather, and worship me, because that is the straight path. What exactly, why is shaitan doing this? What does he want from us? Why is he bothering us? Why is he not letting us just, do our thing and he does his thing? Surah Sad, which is chapter 38, verses 82 through 85. Okay, so 38, Surah Sad, verses 82 through 85. قال فبعزتك لأغوينهم أجمعين. He said, I swear by your izzah, by your might, by your izzah. So he's swearing by Allah. So he doesn't see how smart this guy is. He knows what's up. He knows what's up. He's swearing by Allah. قال فبعزتك, I swear by your might, I swear by you. What? لأغوينهم أجمعين. I swear by you that I will misguide them, all of them. This is his agenda. That I swear by you, God. I swear by God. I swear by your might. لأغوينهم أجمعين. That I will misguide them, أجمعين. All of them. إلا عبادك منهم المخلصين. Except, oh Allah, there's a few who I cannot reach, who are the مخلصين. إلا عبادك منهم المخلصين. مخلصين is slightly different from مخلصين. And inshallah, we'll talk about it at some other point, inshallah. But what we understand from here is there is a group of people who Shaitan himself is admitting that I can't mess with these guys, that I can't misguide these. لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. I will misguide them all, except إِلَّا عِبَادَكَ مِنْهُمْ الْمُخْلَصِينَ. So what we understand is he's a clear enemy from the first verse. From the second verse, we understand that the Quran is telling us, listen, if he's your enemy, then plan to take him as your enemy. Don't just be wandering around living life as if nothing's happening. No, there's an enemy who's planning against you. There's an enemy who's working against you. فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا. فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا. And after that, إِلَّا عِبَادِكَ هُمْ مِنْهُمُ الْمُخْلَصِينَ. Allah says, قَالَ فَالْحَقُّ وَالْحَقُّ أَقُولُ وَالْحَقَّ أَقُولُ. And the truth is, and it is true what I speak nothing but the truth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, لَأَمْلَأَنَّ جَهَنَّمَ مِنْكَ وَمِمَّنْ تَبَعَكَ مِنْهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. You are saying that, oh Shaitan, you're saying that you will misguide everyone? Ajma'in, let me tell you my side of the story. First of all, I don't mess around. What I say is the truth. قَالَ فَالْحَقُّ. He said that the truth is, وَالْحَقَّ أَقُولُ. And I speak nothing but the truth. لَأَمْلَأَنَّ جَهَنَّمَ مِنْكَ. That I will fill the hellfire with you, O Shaitan. Who else? Anyone else, Allah? Yes. Unfortunately, there's more. وَمِمَّنْ تَبِعَكَ. And the one who follows you. So I will fill up the hellfire with you and anyone who follows you. مِمَّنْ تَبِعَكَ مِنْهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. All of them. Everyone who follows you. Everyone who turns away from me. Everyone who turns their back towards me and follows you, even after I have a covenant with them. Even after I've told them, أَلَمْ أَحَدْ إِلَيْكُمْ يَا بَنِي آدَمَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا الشَّيْطَانَ وَأَنِ اعْبُدُونِي. I've told you not to worship him. I've told you to worship me. But if you still keep going, قَالَ فَالْحَقُّ. He said that the truth is, and I speak nothing but the truth, لَأَمْلَأَنَّ جَهَنَّمَ مِنْكَ وَمَنْ تَبِعَكَ minhum ajma'in, that I will fill up the hell fire with you and whoever follows you. See how it's getting a little more serious over here. It's not just, nice and dandy and, Islam is all love and peace. Yes, Islam, it has a lot of love and peace. But it's not a walk in the park. There's responsibilities that have been put upon our shoulders. And there's punishments for those who don't fulfill those responsibilities. And there's beautiful rewards for those who do fulfill those responsibilities. Inna hadaynahu sabil, that we've guided them the path. We've showed them the path. We told them in their fitrah, we instilled that, listen, the way we've created you, fitratallahi allati fatara an-nas alayha, the way we've created you is to move towards Allah. We've put in this little chip in you that you're curious about how things happen. That chip will lead you to Allah. We've put another chip in you that makes you want to worship something, to align with the larger force, with the greater force. We put that in you so you can come towards us. We've created you in a way that you will automatically come towards us. But since it's not a walk in the park, we've introduced some other factors as well. And Quran and Shaitan is one of them. And Shaitan is one of them. Moving on, Surah A'raf, chapter 7. Chapter 7, verses 14 through 17. قَالَ أَنذِرْنِي إِلَى يَوْمِ يُبْعَثُونَ. So before this, he's already talked about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the verses before this. He already talked about Iblis, I'm telling you to bow down to Adam. He says, no, look at me, look at him. I'm cool, he's not that cool. I'm great, he's not that great. You made me from fire, you made them from clay. Why would I bow down to them? And then Allah says, okay, you know what? If you think you're all that, I'm going to kick you out of here. Send you down. You think you're all that, guess what? You're out. And over here is where Shaitan says, قَالَ أَنذِرْنِي إِلَى يَوْمِ يُبْعَثُونَ. Give me a chance till the day of judgment. And Allah says, basically, why does he want a chance? He's like, okay, you know what? You're kicking me out, that's fine. But watch what I'm going to do. And he says, give me a chance. Allah right away says, قَالَ إِنَّكَ مِنَ الْمُنظَرِينَ. Okay, you want a chance? There you go. I give you a chance. Why did Allah give him a chance? Why did he give him a chance? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is thinking, listen, what is this shaitan going to do? I've created myself with the most beautiful, there's me with the most beautiful attributes. I've created the creation in the most perfect way. I've instilled in them a nature that will bring them back to me. Is that all you've done, Allah? No. After that, I sent them 100,000 plus prophets to teach them what needs to be done. Is that all? No. After that, I sent the seal of the prophets, the most perfect of my creation, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Is that all, Allah? No. After that, I sent a book of guidance with him, the one that in which I'm screaming out, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Do they not contemplate this book that I've sent down to them? Do they not contemplate this Quran that I've sent down to them? Is that all, Allah? No. After the Quran, I've sent Ali Amir al-Mu'mineen as well for you. Is that all? No. I sent his wife and the daughter's prophet for you as well as a form of guidance. Sayyidah Zahra salamun alayha. Is that all? No. I sent 12 imams after that. Oh, are the imams just like normal people? No. They went through all these sacrifices that you've read about. For what, O Allah? I sent all these imams. I let Karbala happen. I let the oppression on the imams happen so you would be guided. So after everything that I've given you, if there's one shaitan that comes and says, guess what? Adam was wrong. Nuh was wrong. Ibrahim was wrong. Musa was wrong. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was wrong. The Quran was wrong. Ali was wrong. Fatima was wrong. Hassan was wrong. Hussein was wrong. Everything is wrong. If there's one shaitan on the other side speaking in a way that is against what all these beautiful creations of mine did, I don't think you're going to fall for it. There's absolutely no reason in my mind that you're going to fall for it. So that's why when he says, قَالَ أَنذِرْنِي إِلَى يَوْمِ يُبْعَثُونَ, let me go till the day of judgment. I said, okay, fine. You think you can do anything? إِنَّكَ مِنَ الْمُنذَرِينَ. Okay, go. You think you can fool my slaves? You think you'll be able to trick my people who love the Prophet, who follow the Prophet, who love the Ahlul Bayt? There's absolutely no way. I can't imagine you being able to do that. And then he says, comes back. قَالَ فَبِمَا أَغْوَيْتَنِي لَأَقْعُدَنَّ لَهُمْ صِرَاطَكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. Oh Allah, now that you've rejected me, now that you kicked me out, now that you've done this to me, لَأَقْعُدَنَّ لَهُمْ صِرَاطَكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. I am telling you that I will definitely لَأَقْعُدَنَّ لَهُمْ, that I will sit there for them meaning you and I. لَأَقْعُدَنَّ لَهُمْ صِرَاطَكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. That, oh Allah, watch, I'm going to be sitting on that straight path. And oh, am I going to be sitting there? Any of these people even try to come towards you, I will be there. I'll be on the straight path. لَأَقْعُدَنَّ لَهُمْ صِرَاطَكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. I will sit there on the straight path waiting for them. Is that all, shaitan? Is that all your plan is? No. In Surah A'raf, in verse number 17, he continues, ثُمَّ, after I'm sitting there for them, لَآتِيَنَّهُمْ مِنْ بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ وَعَنْ أَيْمَانِهِمْ وَعَنْ شَمَائِلِهِمْ. I'll be sitting there. After that, I will attack them from the front. I will attack them from the back. I will attack them from their right. I will attack them from their left. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? There's a sworn enemy in the Quran. Most of us have never even read these verses. Most of us don't even know these verses exist. Out of the people who know the verses exist, most of that group doesn't know what they mean. Out of the people who know what it means, most of them haven't contemplated about it. Out of those who've contemplated about it, most of them haven't laid a plan out for it. And that is what Shaitan says. He says, وَلَا تَجِدُوا أَكْثَرَهُمْ شَاكِرِينَ. And you will see that most of them are not shakirin. Oh Allah, you have so much faith in these people. You have so much faith in these people. Allah is relying on us. Allah has full confidence in us. No, there's absolutely no way. Everything that I've done for them, there's no way that they will fall for your tricks. No way will they fall for your tricks. And what is Shaitan telling him? Shaitan is telling him, وَلَا تَجِدُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ شَاكِرِينَ. You wait and watch. I will sit there on the straight path. I will attack them from the front, from the back, from the right, from the left, and you wait and see. You think these people are all that? وَلَا تَجِدُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ شَاكِرِينَ. Most of them will not be thankful. What does it mean to be thankful? It means, oh Allah, you sent all these prophets for me. I'm thankful. I will listen to them. I'll make sure they're not wasted. Oh Allah, you sent the Holy Prophet for me. I'll listen to him. I'll make sure his efforts are not wasted. Oh Allah, all the trouble that he went through, where he says, مَا أُوذِيَ نَبِيٌّ كَمَا أُوذِيتَ, that there was no prophet before me who was bothered and oppressed in the way that I was bothered and oppressed. All this trouble that he went through. All this trouble to be able to get the Quran to you and I. And that is why, remember in the first day we talked about how the Prophet will complain that my ummat, my people left the Quran. Oh Allah, they left the Quran. See how serious this stuff is? We're just so busy in life. So busy in life. When I'm in middle school, there's nothing more important than middle school. And video games, of course. When I'm in high school, there's nothing more important than high school and being able to get into college or university. After that, nothing more important than getting a job. After that, nothing more important than getting married. After that, nothing more than getting a house. Nothing more important than getting a nicer car. Nothing more. Our entire life's gone. This is it. There's an entire heart-pouring story going on, a conversation going on over here in the Quran, in Surah Araf. We're oblivious. We're just living life. Thinking that we are somehow, oh my God, I got to pay the bills and I got to do this and I got to do that and this is my life and it's so difficult. It's not supposed to be difficult. It's because we've left the book of guidance that we find it difficult. It's because our perspectives have changed. It's because our frame of references have changed. So it's there. And Imam al-Bakr, there's a question here. Let me just quickly look at this. Why did Allah say that He sent many prophets and imams and etc. so we won't get misguided, even if He knows what will happen in the future? I'm not sure what you mean by what will happen in the future. If you could please explain that, inshallah, I'll answer it then. So this is Surah A'raf, chapter 7, between verses. The story starts earlier, but the ones that I've talked about is between verses 14 through 17. Okay? Imam Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam. Right? I read the verse, and we read that he will attack from the front and the back and the right. What does that mean? What does it mean that Shaitan is saying that will attack them in every way possible? What does it mean? Imam Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He explains these verses, and he says, Bayna aydihim, when Shaitan is saying that he will attack you from the front, means, Uhawwina alayhim amra al-akhirah, that he will make hereafter, not that the day of judgment and the hereafter, not that important in your minds. Yeah, I've heard about a day of judgment, and I don't need to plan for it. Yes, I know, I've heard that this world is temporary. I know that the hereafter is eternal, but it's just so easy. That doesn't mean anything to me. Yet, out of the 24 hours in my day, 23 and 45 minutes. 23 hours and 45 minutes, I'm working towards the world. 15 minutes, if anything, I do something for the hereafter. My mindset, is my mindset for the world or for the hereafter? So he attacks from the front. Ramadan is saying that one of the things that means is that he will make the akhirah, the hereafter, something not that important for them. He will make it so. Continuing. Min khalfihim, attack them from the back. Imam says that this means that he will busy them in collecting money, in collecting material things, and not only collecting it, but being cheap with it, being miserly with it. I have 100,000 euros in my bank account. How much can you give to Azakhana this year? 100 euro? 200 euros? No, I'm feeling extremely helpful. I'm going to give 500 euros this year. 500 euros? All 500 euros? MashaAllah. 100,000 in the account. 10,000 in the account. Forget 100,000. Out of 10,000, how much am I paying my khums? Is khums something that's voluntary? It's kind of like this. Daniel, I don't know if you realize how serious this is. It's as if, Daniel, I come to your house and I'm staying at your house and you're like, this guy seems like a decent guy. He's coming from home. He can't be that bad. You're like, okay, fine. I'll let him in my house and, and I'll let him stay here. He's just here for 3 days. The second day, guess what I found? I find Daniel's wallet. And I always knew he was a rich guy, but I did not understand till I saw his wallet. He carries around 500 euros with him all the time. So I'm like, it's a lot of money. Let me just sneak out 100 euros. 200 euros. Daniel, now I'm going to put you on the spot. You're going to have to speak, okay? I leave 2 days later. You come back to your room, you open your door, and you see, oh my God, there was 500. There's only 300 in here now. You're like, no, it can't be him. It can't be him. Then guess what? He goes and checks his camera. And he's like, oh my God, he can't believe his eyes. The Maulana actually took out 200 euros from my wallet. Daniel, what goes through your mind? Bismillah. Be honest.
I'd be shocked.
Okay, what else?
Speechless.
Okay, are you going to be, is it a good shock, good speechless?
No, bad.
Bad, how bad?
Very.
Are you going to want to hang out with me anymore?
Not really.
Not really. Are you going to think highly of me?
No.
No. And you're being really kind right now, right? After we put you on mute, you can let the rest out. Homes is money that I have no right over. It's not my money. It's as if, so I did it to Daniel. Which is really bad. But if I don't pay homes, it's as if I'm putting my hands in the Imam's pocket and stealing his money. The Imam's pocket. I have absolutely no right over that money. Zero right over that money. You know what happens in our community sometimes is there's people who unfortunately don't have the tawfiq to give homes. It's a sin. It's a huge sin. It's taking the right and the money of the Imam. That's one thing. Then there are people who, alhamdulillah, give khums, but they still have so much trouble letting go off of it that they want to make sure they control where their khums is spent. Listen, I'm giving you this money, but it needs to, no, it's not your money. You need to understand, brother, sister, that this is not your money. Let go off of it. And this is something that's not even voluntary. Forget the things that are voluntary, right? And everyone wants to try to just out of their homes save the entire world. Here's my 10,000 years, here's my 2,000 years, and I want to save the entire world. No, this is wajib. This is something you have to give. This is something you can't control. Anything beyond that you want to give, okay, now you can control. If your home says 2,000 years, okay, give another 500 years and tell people what you want it used for. You want it for education, give it for education. You want to give it for to the poor, give it to the poor. You want to use it to give iftar, use it to give iftar. You want to build the mosque, build the mosque. You want to build something else, build something else. You want to flush it down the toilet, flush it down the toilet. I don't care. It's your money. Do whatever you want. Obviously, there's guidelines that if you want to be able to benefit from your money, what you need to do. But the khums is a red line, though. Khums is not yours. Right? So Imam Baqir alayhi salam is saying, one of the ways that he attacks us is by making us collect money, making us love money, and making us cheap and stingy with our money. We can't let go off of it. Islam does not have an issue with people being rich. Islam has an issue with how did you become rich? That's an issue. Was it halal or not? Islam does have an issue. So that's fiqh. That's red lines. Beyond that, Islam does have an issue with if you work in a way that you don't have time to give to Allah, you don't have time to give to your family, you don't have time for other things, you don't have time to be balanced in your life. That's not something that's recommended by Islam. If you become rich, you become rich. So Islam has no issues with you becoming rich, but it has other guidelines. Make sure you give Allah time. Make sure you give your family time. Make sure it's not something that's haram. Make sure. As long as those things are taken care of, Islam doesn't care if you're a millionaire. Islam doesn't care if you're a billionaire. So be it. So this is attacking from the back. An aymanihim, from their rights. Afsada alayhim amra dinihim, that he messes up their religion. They don't have an inclination towards religion anymore. They don't think religion is important anymore. They don't think the rules given by Allah are important anymore. It's okay, beta, it's okay. You have an exam, you don't have to get up for Fajr. Just make sure you study well. So your O levels are done well, your A levels are done well, you're into it. The parents sometimes don't give importance to religion. They don't teach their kids that it doesn't matter if it's exam time or not exam time. It doesn't matter if it's during the week or on the weekend. It doesn't matter if it's during the school year or in the summer. Allah is constant. The deen is constant. The responsibility towards religion is constant. And so many other examples. An shama'ilihim, from their left. تحبب اللذات وتغليب الشهوات, that he makes you love these worldly pleasures of this life. He makes you, he pushes you in a way where the carnal desires take over you. And we talked about that yesterday, and we talked about it in Ghafla as well slightly. This is the shaitan, promised, sworn enemy. sworn enemy against you and I. And I'm just coasting along. Just coasting along. I don't even know that there's this story in the Quran. I don't even know that there's verses. I don't even know there's a hadith that talks about this. I'm just living my life. I barely get to pray 5 times a day, which is a total of 15 minutes, and I feel overwhelmed. Oh my God, I still have to do Lord. Oh my God, I still have to do Asr. Oh my God, Maghrib and Isha. It's right at the time that I need to go do this and need to go do that. And completely frame of reference is off. Understanding of this world is off. Understanding of my responsibilities is off. Understanding of the religion and what Allah wants from me is off. How am I expecting to be able to walk into heaven, cool breezes, Amir al-Mu'mineen, waiting for me? Oh, you are here. It's not a walk in the park, brothers and sisters. It truly isn't. I know our time is up, and there's a lot more. I planned to complete this discussion in 1 day, but I think it's worth spreading it to 2 days. So inshallah, we'll continue with this tomorrow as well. And don't worry. I know you're worried, Danielle. Oh my God, another verse gone. Don't worry, I'll get you a separate verse, fresh verse for tomorrow as well. Okay, so don't worry about that. Inshallah. So I'll stop over here. I'll answer this question that's been messaged to me. If there's any other questions, please go ahead and message them quickly. So here was the question. Why did Allah say that He sent many prophets and imams and etc. so we won't get misguided, even if He knows what will happen in the future? And I asked, what do you mean by what will happen in the future? Even if He knows that the wrongdoers will do wrong. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way He's created us is that we have free will. Yes, some people will do wrong, but there's so many people who are benefiting from the Prophet, who are benefiting from the Quran, who are benefiting from the Imams, who are actually willing their way into heaven, who are actively fighting against shaitan, actively working against their own nafs, actively suppressing their ghair shar'i carnal desires. So Allah is not something, it's not like Allah decided for everyone. Right? He gave us not in His opinion, probably not even a level playing field. He put everything on our side. Everything on our side. He gave us all these things that we talked about. I'm not going to go through the list again. And look at this, Surah Nisa, chapter 4, verse number 76. Inna kayda shaytan kana da'ifa. And know that this trickery and everything of the shaitan, kana da'ifa, is really weak. He's telling us, Allah's telling us, listen, don't get confused by all this boasting that shaitan's doing in some of the verses. Don't get confused by that. Surah 4, which is Surah Nisa, verse number 76. I really hope that people are taking these references down so they can refer to them later on. So he says, Inna kayda shaytan kana da'ifa. That these plans, this trickery of shaitan is weak. Okay, so I hope that answers the question. Salam alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. In one of your lectures, you talked about different levels of believing in Allah. How do we know what level we are at? And we have gone up or down a level. These levels are not something that are defined in a way where, it's like It's like grades for us. Like, okay, grade one, okay, hey, here's the result, here's your marks, here's your grades, okay, now you go to level two. So it's not like clearly defined like that, and it's not almost, it is impossible for anyone to be able to rank people like that. However, within ourselves, within ourselves, the way I judge my level of iman is how much of this knowledge gets translated into action. Another way is how connected do I feel to God? Another one is how often do I remember God? Another one is what role does God play in my life? Another one is how attached am I to the Quran? How attached am I to the Hadith? How much time and effort do I put in my servitude, in my ubudiyyah towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? All these different factors are things that we can kind of gauge for our own selves. And how do you know if you've gone up a level or down a level? For example, say when you're 16 years old, you have this love for Imam Hussein, you want to go for ziyarah all the time. Every time you go, you cry at his haram, you love doing namaz there, you're pure. Then you end up going to university to become a big guy. And the university brings a lot of big bad things for you. God forbid, may Allah protect everyone. Now you have a degree. Now you go work for someone and you want this, you got this really fancy job, I don't know, investment banker, big time, this, that, whatnot, all of that good stuff that we're all dying for. Now you're 25 years old. You don't have time to go to Karbala anymore because you're an investment banker now. Somehow, some reason, you ended up going to Karbala. You don't really have the inclination to go to the Haram. Okay, you went to the Haram, you're in Karbala, might as well go to the Haram. You don't feel an attachment to Imam Hussein. You don't feel like doing salat over there. You don't have tears rolling down your eyes. This is because of my shortcomings, because of my sins, because of the direction that I took my life in. Allah had blessed me when I was 16 with a pure heart, but I didn't protect it. This is a sign of that I've gone down a level, or more than a level probably here, and vice versa. If I was like that before and I'm like this now, then alhamdulillah, I've gone up levels. And there's different parameters for that as well. I just gave the example of, for example, Karbala. What about salat? What about my namaz? So those are also things that can sort of reflect if I'm getting closer or not getting closer. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I should have done the dua and let people who need to go, so we could have done the question later. I apologize about that. And if there's any more questions, then please, I love questions. Okay, I like questions. It makes me, confident that what is being said is being received on the other end. Although the other end is just a Zoom window with a mute sign and some name on there. But hopefully there's something behind the window. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the sake of these blessed nights, for the sake of this month, oh Allah, give us the tawfiq to be able to understand your religion. We ask you, Allah, for the sake of these blessed nights, protect us from the trickery of shaitan. Oh Allah, protect us from our own desires that can lead us in the wrong way. Oh Allah, give us the ability to be able to understand Islam in a way that shaitan nor our desires can lead us in the wrong way. Oh Allah, for the sake of these blessed nights, increase our raghbah, increase our love for the Holy Quran and the ability to be able to take out these lessons from the Quran. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the sake of these blessed nights, hasten the reappearance of our dear Imam, Ajjalallahu ta'ala Farajah Sharif, and include us amongst his sincerest followers. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah Aga for a very beautiful and informative lecture. So we're going to conclude our event with the recitation of Mama Zamana for Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم كن لوليك حجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله